Hello and welcome to the CYF course. Today we will move into a topic called Building for Maturity. And it's about creating a curriculum based on the rites of passage. My question is, what do we want to see in the life of our kids when they will be 30? Do we have a vision of the finished product we want to obtain? And the question behind is how to prepare a study plan, having in mind the skills, the character, the knowledge that seems essential to us, and after we spread them in all the years of training. So if this is what we want to see when they will be 30, that means we start at 4 here, and these are the objectives, at 5, at 6, at 7, at 8, at 9, at 10. This is how we prepare the school curriculums, for instance, to make sure that the children are growing into the different skills and knowledge that they need to develop in order to reach a specific objective at the end. Can we evaluate the efficiency of our training? With what kind of criteria? What kind of tools can help us correct what was not so good? This means we need to have a reflection on how we train, what we use to train, what is our philosophy, what is our strategy. And this is what we want to share during this session. Our African brothers have a proverb saying, it takes a whole village to raise a child. This is so real, so true. Parents, of course, have the primary responsibility, but it would be wrong to say that they are the only responsibles. There is a role for the wider family. There is a role of the local church. There is a role of the community, of schools, of sport coaches or music teachers. All of them are involved in discipling and making our children grow to maturity. What we want to propose to you is a strategy based on the rites of passage. What is a rite of passage? It is a milestone in the growth of the person. It's a definition of life stages and their stakes, characteristics, and dangers. Today, the adolescents or the teenagers is kind of a no man's land. Teenagers means it starts at 13 to 19, but now it starts even before, because of the experience of life that are sometimes difficult in some families. And it lasts sometimes until 30 or 40 years old. And we call it even manolescence. It's a refusal of maturity. And because there is no milestone, there is no rite of passage anymore in our Western society, the teenagers, they don't really know where they are at. They have no way of finding what is expected of them. Some of them we say, you're a good teenager, you are able to make your bed. But I can tell you, they have much more potential than that. The rite of passage has been used in every culture in history. It's just our modern Western culture who tends to abandon them or to replace them with something more private. But if you look in the Jewish culture, the bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah for the girls was a very clear rite of passage. When they turned 12, the girls became adults. When they turned 13, the boys became adults. They had a preparation before that, and they had a celebration, they had prayer, they were reading the Word of God in the Torah for the first time in public. That was just powerful, and there was a community celebration where they were drinking, celebrating, dancing, eating, and praying for the young people. And you know that to build a Jewish community, you need 12 men to have the minyan, the minimum. And if you have 11 men and a 13 years old who just did his bar mitzvah, it's okay. He's a man. He's considered as a man. So there is something very clear. Before you were a child, now you are a man. Now you have new expectation. Of course, it's still an apprentice man. It's still a period of growing into manhood. But there is a public sight, a public view of this age that is very clear, and the child knows what is expected of him. In the Middle Age, I love the rites of passage linked with the knighthood, for instance, where the child became a page when he was 7 and he was living with his lord and serving the wife of his lord, learning good manners, to serve at the table, to clean things. He was learning to read basic stuff. But at 14, he became a squire, and he was going alongside his master, and he was taking care of the horse, he was taking care of the armor, and the master was teaching the squire how to fight, how to ride a horse. It was giving to each other. And when he was 21, he was established as a knight. And he was going through a ceremony, spending the whole night in prayer. And there were clear guidelines, clear expectation for each stage, and clear milestones where there was a changing from one stage to the next. And this is something we need to work in our churches, to find new milestones, new rites of passage for today that have meaning. And in the next session, I will present you some of the milestone we are thinking about. But first, let me say that a rite of passage should be a community process, an event. And we need to think community in an individualistic society. It's not always easy. We may have our own private rites of passage, but it's less powerful than having something we do as a whole community. And there is the importance of bonding with a spiritual family that is so crucial for the young people today. And so the church can testify, affirm, support, encourage in our life stages. It's already the case for marriage or funeral, but we can have more of that. And in every rite of passage, there are 4 sides, 4 participants who commit to this new stage. The young person, when they enter the new stage, they should take a commitment. The church, the assembly, the congregation, who is bearing witness and praying for the child, and they commit to walk alongside the child and to help him. The parents, they also need to go from one stage to the next and to evolve with their kid. And of course, God himself, who is committing and renewing his commitment and his covenant with the young person. And when we have this rite of passage, we should build some community event that we can put in a service once a year for the new kids who go through this rite of passage, like the Catholic did for the communion, or like the Protestant did for what they called confirmation, or like we do when we present a child to the Lord when he is just born. In this service, it should be a time for honoring the young person, for praying for him, for feasting, for eating, for rallying around, for talking together. It's a special time where we make sure that we recognize those of our body who are in this stage of life and we support them. So, for each stage of life, we need to define what we want to reach. If this is what we want to reach when they will be 30, this is what we want to reach when they will be 6, when they will be 12, when they will be 18, and they grow little by little. And we need to establish objectives and goals in the area of character, of skills, and of knowledge. The most important is character. Many aspects, when we see the list of Paul for leadership in 1 Timothy, it's linked to character. But we also want that the children and teenagers, they know how to do some stuff. So we need to teach them some skills. And also they need to have some specific head knowledge. I'm not against head knowledge, but this is not the only thing that should happen. And we work with the understanding of this developmental stage with the specific needs and characteristics of each age group. And with that, we need to build the different milestone that we need to have clear time frames with clear objectives that we want to reach. And this is what we want to do in the next session. But for now, let's see some questions, get in groups, and share and pray together with these questions as guidelines. May the Lord bless you.